Straight from the 1980s with its neon pinstriping is this vintage Panasonic FM25 Boombox radio, and this boombox actually performs quite well receiving AM broadcasts, and while it isn't a wideband AM receiver, it sounds pretty good. It does happen to have an ambience feature, which I'll detail that in just a moment, but just to give you a quick brief overview of it, you can see it says FM AM stereo radio cassette recorder. This can in fact record off the radio to cassettes, as well as using its built-in left and right stereo microphones for stereo audio. We have the volume lever right here, a little control. This is it's plastic. Same with the tone control. Over here we have the power switch for power, off, which doubles as the tape selector, and then FM and AM. Over here we have pause, stop, eject, and the regular tape transport controls, and this happens to have, as it boasts of on its front panel display right here, one touch recording, and it'll begin to record if you just press the record button. You don't have to push both of them, just press one and it'll begin to record. And here we see that mention of a built-in AC transformer with Ambience, AC battery operation. And then over here we have a selector switch for mono, stereo operation, and then the Ambience feature, which simply seems to boost the treble and a bit of the low-end frequencies, and also adds a bit of a reverb effect, perhaps a slight delay between the two stereo channels, which gives you a really quite immersive sound. This radio has an amazingly long and generous dipole antenna, and if I hold this up you can see really quite how tall and that's not even fully extended. If I full extended it would probably end up hitting the ceiling, so they're very quite generous with that. And unlike a lot of the new cheap radios that have very flimsy dipole antennas that crack if you just breathe on them, this is a very heavy duty, thick, very strong and sturdy antenna, so you don't have to worry about bending or breaking it very easily. And there we have a better look at the left and right stereo microphones and speakers. The speakers sound very good on this unit. And taking a look inside at the tape unit, the tape mechanism, the eject mechanism, doesn't fully engage, and so you have to actually repeatedly click it. That or you click it and you try to pull it open with your finger. Actually I have a tape that was preloaded in there. And we can get a look at the tape mechanism. This being a boombox, everything is located at the top of the unit, so you actually insert the tapes upside down, like so. And yes, if you're wondering, this tape was brutally ruined. It still plays fine. You can see down here. This unit did need a good cleaning to begin with. The tape heads were extremely filthy. If you take a look in there, I've cleaned them up and they sound pretty good. And I'm not quite sure if it's DC bias recording. It sure sounds like it, but it's a high quality DC bias recorder. Only problem is you get some sibilance on the S's. Over on this side we have the tuning knob, nice and fluid, not hard to move. And we have our tuning indicator here. You can see it moves up and down as I spin it. And then on the rear of the unit you can see they actually used a screw here. They put this here so that you can hook up an external FM antenna if you so desire. Something I haven't seen on any new boomboxes. And for anyone who really cares to know the exact model and other information, there you go. It is a UL listed appliance. And they also have an addition of a tape speed adjustment area right here, which you can adjust the speed in the motor. Very nice without having to go in this unit, because I really don't want to think of how hard it is going to be if I ever need to replace the belts by opening this up and trying to get into there. So being able to adjust the speed right on the back is a very nice feature. On the back of this boombox you also have the ability to put in standard D-cell batteries here. We have a little drawing, or excuse me, they're C-size batteries. 1.5 volts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batteries total. We can go ahead and open this up here. And I have actually gone ahead and put some heavy-duty industrial batteries in there. And there's some foam here, but it's dry rotted, not that it makes much of a difference. And on the other side of the unit we have a stereo headphone jack. This is not a mono jack, so you get stereo audio in both the left and right channels of audio. And this does use the figure of 8 AC connection. Okay, so now we've gone over the brief overview of the features and such. Let's do a test and see how it sounds. Okay, I'm going to attempt to talk over it so we don't get any content ID issues, but we're just listening to some classic hits here with The Doors, Riders on a Storm. I mean, the bass on this is just amazing. I would be fooled thinking this is a professional speaker system. If you just had me blindfolded and I listened to this, it sounds amazing. Very nice sounding, and I could turn the tone down too. And let's go ahead and switch on over the Ambience selector switch, and you're going to hear the difference in sound. And it has to be a stereo source, a stereo radio station that's broadcasting a stereo signal, otherwise the switch won't engage. So up here you are in stereo. So it has a bit of reverb and some slight echo in the channels. Just gives it a little more presence, which is kind of nice if you're playing this in a noisy environment. And I can feel this rumbling as I'm feeling it. That's how much bass it's reproducing. Now, aside from the great aside from the great FM reception, this unit does exceptionally well with AM, picking up very, very low strength signals. See, there's some weird noise here.
Spoken to a lot of people.
I'm sure Content ID won't be able to pick this up, but just give you an idea of some music. It's a fairly wideband receiver. It's not extremely wideband, but it's certainly not the worst I've heard. Okay, at this late hour, there's not much decent programming on the radio. However, there is an infomercial playing, but the audio quality of this station sounds very good. Take a listen.
1 month, 100% of the participants were able to perform their daily tasks better, reported less stiffness in the morning. Again, that's unheard of in any medical study, that you just don't see those kind of results. So certainly we're working with something that is a natural component, natural food,
That's not the best sounding AM station on the dial, but they are playing some music. I'm sure we're all wanting to hear what a cassette tape sounds like and the recording quality of this. So I have this cassette tape here that was a commercially released pre-recorded tape, but I just re-recorded over it. It was some really cheesy child's recording, children's music, so needless to say, I didn't miss it. I don't know what's playing on this tape. Kind of like it. Okay, turns out that was not the tape that we were listening to. That was the AM radio. I forgot to switch it into the tape position, see? It is a Spanish station, but whatever. Anyway, let's play that tape. It's a copy of Rod Stewart's Greatest Hits album, but it was recorded with a bad cassette deck. Not this, it was recorded with a JVC dual well cassette deck I no longer own that had some serious problems and gremlins in it, and the tape speed is a bit off, but you can just get an idea of what it sounds like. This certainly has enough power to bring down the house. I can't believe it. You know, you really can't get this kind of sound with new boomboxes because they really sound tinny and even distort once you bring it up beyond a somewhat moderate level. Let's go ahead and rewind this a bit more and see what else is on this tape. Okay, here's Steve Miller's Abracadabra again. It was recorded at too slow of a speed, so now it sounds like it's being fast forwarded. So let's go ahead and do a demonstration now of the recording quality of the built-in microphone and the radio recorder. I'll flip the side since I don't want to lose that Steve Miller recording. It's recorded off of vinyl, off the radio, interestingly enough. So let's go ahead and do a little test here. Okay, here's a test now of the built-in microphone and the recording quality of that. And if the stereo audio is working correctly, and you're using stereo headphones, you should be able to hear the stereo effect. I'll turn up the volume a little louder just to exaggerate it a bit. The Panasonic FM25 stereo boombox cassette recorder. And if the stereo separation on this boombox and my camera is working properly, you will hear me in your left channel of audio, and now hear me in your right channel of audio, and now in dead center. Hopefully it sounds okay. I believe it does. The only drawback is that this stereo and mono switch, I was under the impression of perhaps maybe that would affect the microphone operation so that you can use this as a mono microphone recording system. And I say that because sometimes I want to lean a little closer perhaps to one microphone to get a bit of a louder signal to compete with the background noise that's inherent with cassette tapes, because this doesn't have Dolby B noise reduction or encoding technology. So when you speak closer to the microphone, you obviously get a louder signal. There's no volume control for the recording levels. So if you do want mono audio, you have to just talk in the middle, but the audio is much quieter then. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a test now of the recording from radio capability and quality. We're going to switch over to FM radio. This is the audio straight from the radio. We're going to stop it, rewind, and switch over to tape. And the audio is a bit overmodulated for some reason. I'm not sure if it's picking up the 19 kilohertz stereo pilot tone of the radio station, but it seems like there's some sort of distortion going on there. And I do believe that concludes this little demonstration of a vintage 1980s Panasonic FM25 stereo cassette player, radio, and boombox. Thank you for watching.